Make yourself comfortable, watch and listen to the presentation.
The rate of attempted suicide and completed suicide in transsexual women is considerably high compared to the general population. Therefore, this presentation is intended to address all issues related to suicide and suicidal behavior in this community. Social, family, political, police discrimination, among others, are significant risk factors that influence the suicidal behavior of transgender people. In all countries, the rate of suicide attempts in transgender people occurs at a very high percentage, more than 50%. Victimization, discrimination, harassment, violence, family and community rejection, environment, as well as discrimination and mistreatment in the health system, are key elements that increase the vulnerability of this population.
However, despite these difficulties, the transsexual community also shows factors of continuing to project itself into the future despite destabilizing events, difficult living conditions and traumatic experiences. That can be strengthened through the support and implementation of culturally sensitive and inclusive preventive strategies. Increasing protective factors is essential to address this worrying suicide rate among transgender people. The fight against discrimination, mistreatment in hospitals and even by doctors specializing in endocrinology and other spaces is essential to prevent tragedies related to suicide in transsexual women. I want to introduce myself. I am Dr. Mireille Perez Brambila, so that you know me, a qualified doctor, specialist in somatic psychiatry and somatic medicine, dedicated to the study of transsexuality from 2010 to date, and I continue to change the future of transsexuality. I have more than 184 publications on different websites, on monographies.com, and some university and hospital medical journals. All my publications and topics on transsexuality are protected by more than 50 bibliographical references, medical journals and exhibitions, all solely related to transsexuality and congenitals with sexual malformations.
The topic of today: suicide attempt and completed suicide in transsexual women. Brief explanation of the causes. Some statistical data. Keywords: 1. Stigmatization. 2. Discrimination. 3. Social networks harassment. Cyber harassment. 4. Workplace harassment. 5. Sexual harassment. 6. Consumed suicide. Suicidal behaviors. 7. Drugs. Alcoholism.
Table of contents. 1. Risk factors. 2. Impact on mental health. 3. Relief strategies.
4. Some statistical data. 5. Conclusions. Various factors, such as discrimination, harassment, and lack of social support, contribute to suicidal tendencies in transgender people. These factors must be analyzed in depth to implement effective strategies. Suicide is a complex behavior which results from the complicated interaction of biological, psychological, cognitive, and environmental factors.
Discrimination against transsexual people manifests itself in various forms, from social exclusion to physical violence. Discrimination and harassment are factors that can have a devastating impact on the mental health of transgender people, contributing to an increase in suicidal tendencies.
Discrimination against transsexual people manifests itself in various forms, from social exclusion to physical violence. Discrimination and harassment are factors that can have a devastating impact on the mental health of transgender people, contributing to an increase in suicidal tendencies. Harassment also plays a role in suicidal tendencies among transgender women. Constant harassment and intimidation can generate deep emotional suffering, leading to feelings of helplessness and despair.
Suicidal behaviors occur between 10% to 80% in some countries of the world. Suicide attempts and suicide are a delicate topic that requires specialized and comprehensive attention. It is essential that transsexual people feel listened to, supported and understood in an environment safe and judgment-free. The mental health of transsexual women is a crucial aspect that must be addressed comprehensively and respectfully. The percentages of suicidal behavior and suicide attempts are reported to be significantly high among transgender people compared to the general population in some countries. For example, United States of North America, 65%, Iran, 10%, Mexico, 30%, India, 50%, Australia, 60%, Argentina, 60%, and other countries.
Currently, there are certain countries that stand out for their high rate of discrimination, human rights violations and harassment against transsexual women. Human rights violations are a sad reality for many transsexual women in these countries. Harassment and social exclusion are other serious problems faced by transsexual women in the aforementioned countries. In Europe, Spain occupies first place. In the United States of America, the lack of legal protection, but, in Latin America, the pandemic has exacerbated discrimination and violence against transsexual women, with reports of human rights violations in countries such as Peru, Argentina, Colombia, Mexico and Panama mainly. Transsexual women face a higher prevalence of anxiety and depression, exacerbated by chronic stress, due to social and family stigma and discrimination, which increases the risk of suicide. Their exposure to traumatic experiences, such as harassment, physical and mental abuse of their gender, causes chronic emotional stress. However, their struggle with gender dysphoria, the lack of recognition of their identity by their own family and their social environment and even the government, generates psychological discomfort, impacting their mental health.
Transsexual women face unique challenges on their path to acceptance and realization of their gender identity. Social and family discrimination plays a crucial role in your emotional well-being, as a lack of support and understanding can lead to feelings of isolation and rejection. Harassment, physical and mental abuse are forms of violence that can cause profound damage to your mental health, perpetuating a cycle of suffering.
Stigmatization. The stigma of a transsexual woman is a form of discrimination that affects many people in society. Stigmatization refers to the action of labeling or marking someone as different or inferior because of their gender identity. Stigma in a transsexual woman manifests itself in various ways, from social rejection to physical violence. Transgender people often face prejudice and discrimination in multiple areas of their lives, such as work, education, and healthcare. This type of discrimination causes serious consequences for the mental and emotional health of a transsexual woman. Consequences of stigmatization. Stigmatization has a devastating impact on the life of a transsexual woman. These people are often forced to hide their gender identity for fear of being discriminated against or mistreated. This can lead to mental health problems, such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorders. Additionally, stigmatization can make it difficult to access basic services such as healthcare and housing.
Countries with the most labor discrimination. Transsexual women 1. Russia 2. Spain 3. Brazil 4. Argentina 5. Mexico 6. Chile 7. Egypt 8. Uruguay 9. Peru 10. Ecuador 11. USA 12. England 13. Cuba 14. Canada 15. Colombia.
It is essential to fight against the stigmatization of transsexual people to create a more inclusive and respectful environment. This requires educating society about the diversity of gender identities and promoting respect and tolerance towards all transsexual people, regardless of their gender identity, transsexual woman or man. Furthermore, it is important to implement policies and laws that protect the rights of transgender people and combat discrimination. Warning: the content of this work and its publication on YouTube is provided by Dr. Mireille Perez Brambila, responsible and author, which is offered for your viewing, for education, information and mainly for guidance on everything related to transsexuality. To expand your information, go to web pages, where there are different and multiple publications on the same topic, some the author and others that have been published without authorization or permission of the author, prefixing a false author name, which they offer it with profit. This presentation only contains images, graphics and videos, as well as free, copyright-free music themes, freely provided by Pixabay and Freepik, for presentation on YouTube, without any violation. Other images or graphics are original, with their statistical data prepared and provided by Dr. Manuel Perez Brambila. All my presentations do not contain any copyrighted images or video or music fragments. The name of the author and the page where it was freely downloaded. The name of the author is placed in the presentation.